Here is the summary of the story Packing by Jerome K. Jerome.
Explain to you about
Jerome, the
Jerome.
narrator,
I have
was
given
proud
the
of his
introduction.
ability to pack anything.
Then, about his
So
friends,
he told his friends
Jerome
George and
Harris.
Harris to leave the packing
And
up to him.
What are the things
To his surprise,
you need
they
for
readily
packing?
agreed to his suggestion.
How to pack. I have
This was not
explained
what
to you.
Jerome intended.
So,
His
the
idea was to
packing
instruct George and
by
Harris
Jerome
to do the
and
work
Jerome, I have
while he
explained to you.
supervised them.
Jerome and Jerome doing
He
the
disliked
always
it when
his
people
friends,
sat idly
George
and did
Harris
nothing
planned to
while
go
he
for
did all the
interview
work.
during the
Jerome
holidays.
was irritated, but he decided to start packing.
Jerome was packed
It took
with
him
things.
longer than anticipated,
And
but he
sometimes
finally
he
managed
forgot
to pack
toothbrush
everything.
whether he was packed
However,
or not.
just when he was closing the last bag, Harris asked
So,
him
dear
if he
students,
had
take
packed
the
in the
textbook
boots.
page number 20.
Jerome was
Page
annoyed. He thought it
20.
was just like Harris to remind him of the boots when he was almost
Third
finished
paragraph.
with packing. Of course,
When
he
I
had
had
to open the bag
finished,
and
George
pack the
asked
boots
if the
inside.
soap was in.
It
I
was
said,
then that he
I
remembered
didn't
his
get in hand
toothbrush.
whether the soap
His
was
toothbrush
in
gave him
or
trouble
whether
every time he
it was
traveled
in.
somewhere.
And I
He would
slung
pack it the
bag
night before
strapped
and
it.
unpack it in the
I
morning
found
to use
that
it.
I had packed
Then
my
he would forget to
tobacco
repack it
pouch in
and would have to rush
and had
at the
to
last
reopen
moment
it.
to get
It
his
got
toothbrush
shut up
and run to the
finally
station.
Around 10 p.m.
He unpacked his bag
And then
again,
there
but he could not
remained
find the
hampers
toothbrush.
to do. Harris
He had to
thought
reopen
that
everything
he
again to
and
find it.
George had better do the
Finally,
rest.
he found it inside a boot.
And I
Poor
agreed
Jerome
and sat
had to
down
repack
and they
everything
had
once
to
again.
go. So
By
here,
this time,
what
Jerome
George,
was exhausted.
George,
He gave in to
after
Harris's
completing
suggestion
Jerome,
to let him
everything
and George
packing,
do the packing.
Just Jerome is
George and
asking to
Harris
the
took over from Jerome,
Jerome. George is
but
asking
Jerome
to the
did not think
"Did he
they
pack
would do
your
any
soap?"
better than him.
So
He
each
believed
thing
that
they are
George and
reminding
Harris
him.
were the worst
I
packers
said, I
in the
didn't
entire
get in
world.
hand whether the soap was in
Jerome
the
was right.
So Jerome
Almost
was,
immediately,
got
they broke a
and
cup.
towards them, and he was
Then
not
Harris
very
packed
anxious. He
strawberry
said,
jam
"I
on
don't
top of a
hate that one,
tomato.
whether I packed or not, I
The
don't
jam
know,
squashed
but I'm
the
not
tomato,
bothered."
and they had to
And I
scoop the
slumped
tomato out with a
up the
spoon.
bag and strapped it.
Jerome
So,
said
slumped
nothing,
means
but came over to watch.
I didn't
This
get
made
hand
George
is-
and
did
Harris
not bother.
even more nervous.
So what George
They were
was
so
saying,
nervous that they packed the
Jerome
pies
not
at the bottom
bothered
and the
what
heavy
he was
things
saying.
on top.
But slump
The pies
means
were completely
band
smashed.
shut.
Then they
Band
started packing the
shut.
butter.
He did
Jerome
not
had
bother.
never seen
I
anyone
found that I
treat a
have
stick
packed.
of butter
So, he
the
is
way
in his
George
mind,
and
he
Harris
was thinking
did
that I have
in his
packed my
entire
pouch.
life.
What are the
George
things,
stepped onto the
maybe
butter.
in that comb,
He and
toothbrush,
Harris had to
paste.
scrape it out of his
Then
slipper.
what was
Then
personal
they
things.
tried to put it in a
And
kettle,
had to
but that
reopen it.
did
So
not
again he
work.
has to reopen it.
So they had to scoop out all the
It
butter
got
from the
shut
kettle
finally
and put it on
was
the chair.
time 10 p.m.
Harris then
And
sat
the
on the
tree,
butter.
they remained the hampers
Now
to
it was
do.
stuck to him.
Hampers means baskets
George and
that hold
Harris,
food.
not
So,
knowing this,
in the basket
looked for
they
the
kept
butter
food
everywhere.
and everything.
Finally,
So Harris
George
thought
found
that
it
he
sticking
and
to
George
Harris.
had better the rest.
They managed to get
And
it
I
off
agreed
Harris
sat
and
down
put it
and
back
they
in the
had to
teapot.
go. So
Their
Harris and
packing
George
became
went
more
for
complicated
bed,
with the
but
addition
Jerome
of
was again
Montmorency.
Searching the things
Montmorency
whether he packed or not,
was
which are
Jerome's dog,
necessary
and
for
it was his ambition in
travel.
life to get in everyone's way.
Next
If he went a
paragraph.
day without things being
begun
thrown
in
at
a
him,
light,
he felt his day
hearted spirit,
wasted.
evidently
Now
intending
he
to
came and
show
sat
me
on
how
the things to
do
be
it.
packed.
I made no
He put his
comment
leg into
and
the
only
jam,
waited,
upset
and
the
I looked
teaspoons,
at the
and
files
pretended
out
that the
plates
lemons
and
were
cups
rats.
and kettles and
He squashed
bottles
3 of the lemons
and jars
before
and
Harris
peas
chased
and
him away
sauce
with a
and
frying
plates
pan.
and tomatoes.
Finally,
and felt
the
that
packing was
thing
done
would
at
soon
12:50
become
a.m.
exciting. So
The 3
they
of them
began-
decided to go to bed.
they began
George asked them
travel.
at what time
So
should they wake
3
up.
men, Jerome,
Harris said 7
George
and Jerome
and
said
Harris.
6. This led to a debate between the two.
In the boat.
In the spirit of compromise,
So it
they
was
finally
very,
settled on waking up
they are
at
very
6:30.
happy to go travel
They turned to
together.
ask George for his opinion,
I made-
but he had
so
fallen
I
asleep
made
during
a
the
comment.
debate.
So they made
Jerome
comment at
and
him,
Harris
but
placed
I
a bathtub
just- Jerome
next
was
to him.
quietly
This way,
waiting.
when he woke up in the morning,
he was
he would
looking at
tumble
the-
into it.
The
Finally-
items, things which are plates, cups, kettle, and bottles and jars, everything, stoves, cakes. So that would suddenly become excited. When he saw that things, he was very excited. For what we saw things like that way? It did. They started with breaking a cup. Then Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of a tomato and squeezed it, and they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. So they started to eat, have the breakfast maybe before starting the traveling. But the Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of the tomato and squeezed it, and they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. So they had breakfast like that. And then it was George's turn. And he trod on the butter. I didn't see anything, but I came over and sat on the edge of the table and watched them. It irritated them more than anything I could have said. They stepped on things, put things behind them, and then couldn't find when they wanted them. And they packed the peas at the bottom and put heavy things on top and smashed the pie. So, dear students, just Jerome was watching what George and Harris, they are doing very nonsense things, but they are not serious in packing the things. They don't know what are the things to pack it, but Jerome was just quietly watching them what they are doing. So, light things, small things like fruits and all, like grapes, strawberry and all, they are keeping down in the basket first, and after they are keeping heavy things like apples, orange. When they are keeping that heavy things, what is down the tender ones, it is smashing breaking the fruits and all. They upset salt over everything, and as for the butter, I never saw two men do more with butter in my whole life than they did. After George had got it off his slipper, they tried to put it in the kettle. It wouldn't go in, and what was, it wouldn't come out. They did scrape it out at last and put it down on a chair, and Harry sat on it, and it stuck to him, and they went look for it all over the room. So, dear students, they are packing the things and all, but they are searching the things also what they packed. What you see? So, they are searching for something, but on the table, on the bench, so something they kept. Harris went and sat on that. People not able to find out. So he sat on the things. I will take my oath. I put it down on the chair, said George, starting at the empty seat. So I will take oath. I put it down on the chair. I have put on the chair, said George, starting at the empty seat. I saw you do it myself not a minute ago, said Harris. I saw that you when we were keeping that one. I saw that. Then they started taking rounds of the room, again looking for it. They met again in the center and started at one another. So again they started to search the things and see what had happened. Most extraordinary thing I ever heard of, said George. So mysterious, said Harris. So this was a very extraordinary thing I never have experienced, George was telling. So mysterious, saying the Harris. Then George got round at the back of Harris and saw it. Why, here it is all the time, he exclaimed indignantly. Where, cries Harris, spinning round. Stand still, can't you? Roared George, flying after him. And they got it off and packed it in the teapot. So, anyway, they got what they're searching and they packed it. So, George and Harris, they are just wasting the time. They are not serious in packing the things for traveling. The packing was done at 12:50 a.m. Harris sat on the big humper and said he hoped nothing would be broken. George said that if anything was broken, it was broken, which reflection seemed to confront him. He also said he was ready for bed. So, what he was doing, Harris always doing such a funny things. What they are packing the things, Harris goes and sits on that one. So, like that he was doing. Hamper means baskets that hold food. What they kept the food, the man, Harris was going and sitting on the food. It was becoming smashed like that and all. So, it was a good experience for them. But Jerome was not happy about George and Harris, the way they are doing. such nonsense things to pack to go travel for morning. It's clear for you. So dear students, this story is the art of packing. I already explained to you what are things you need for a travel. You should know the things to pack the things. So at the same time, Jeremy was having two best friends, George and Harris. Three men went for a travel in a boat. Three men in a boat went for a travel, river called River Thames. So before going in the travel, what experience, how they packed, how they had fun, everything it was. So Jerome was very particular in packing the things. He was having patience, what are things, everything he packs perfectly. So packing should be shows a good character. You should have patience to pack the things. You should not depend on others. You should be sincere doing in your work. So dear students, so glossary, the new meanings. Impress the fact upon means made the point very clear. Made the point very clear. Intended. What's the meaning of intended? Means wanted to do, desire to do the something. Potter about. Move about doing some course. Ain't you means informal uses for aren't you. Mortal thing. Used to mean everything. Didn't get a hand. Do not bother me. Slumped. Banged shut. Hampers. Baskets that hold food. So dear students, exercises. Who said this? Let's understand. Who said this? Why? This was hardly what I intended. Who said? The author. Jerome said. B. I'll take my oath. I put it down on that child. Who said this sentence? George. So mysterious. Who said this one? Harris. Answer the following questions I will give to you. Let's build words. Words with similar meanings. Underline the word. Here, rob, steal, thief, loot, which is not matching for the words. We have to select that word. Thief. Garden, house, dwelling, habit. Garden. Explorer, detective, investigator, agent. Explorer. Suspect, no. Doubt, question, no. Flowers, gifts, offering, presents. Flowers, you have to underline. Singular and plural. Give the singular form of these nouns. Heaves, heave. They have given here in plural forms, but you have to write it in a singular form. Heaves means heave. Feet, foot. Duties, duty. Fairies, fairy. Children, child. Wolves, wolf. Wives, wife. Buses, bus. Give the plural of these nouns. Here singular they have given singular form. You have to write it in plural form. Cliff, cliffs. Giraffe, giraffes. Calf, calves. Frenchman, Frenchmen. Ox, oxen. Chief, chiefs. Monkey, monkeys. Roof, roofs.